Hi everybody, and today in this video I'm going to talk about stress. Now stress is quite common. The world we live in today, we can all go through feeling stressed at some point. Some people worse than others may go through it, but stress in itself is mainly triggered by something's caused you to feel stressed, a situation, maybe something that you may find difficult to deal with as well. Now, coping with it, but the main thing is, first of all, is if what I was going to say is how it can affect us within ourselves. Now, how it affects us, our feelings and emotions, it starts to make us, too much stress. It can make us feel drained, tired, all that side of things. But sometimes some people quite easily overcome stress. If it's not as bad, like I said, some people overcome more than, quicker than others. But I want to talk about as well, if you're already suffering with poor mental health. Now, stress is a great trigger which increases the effects of your mental health, how it affects you. I mean, you've got to think about it, like if you've got poor mental health, you're already suffering with your feelings and emotions. The mind is suffering anyway. So when you're in with stress itself, it goes to your feelings and your emotions, and sometimes it can go to your mind as well. Too much stress, if you're in a prolonged stress situation, the mind doesn't know what to do about it. It becomes confused. It causes the stress there, how you're feeling, maybe anxiety on top, and a lot of the time as well, the mind will go to where it's familiar with. So in other words, if you're prone to a certain situation or certain things that make you feel stressed, the mind will go to that. Like a familiar thing may come across. Let's just say, for example, I don't know, like if you like with your thoughts, if you're suffering with poor mental health and you have and your thoughts that you get sometimes can be quite taxing, how you react to it, how it makes you feel. So there's that. Any everyday situation that you may come across, just something that you've found very difficult to deal with, something that you've been trying to sort out on the phone, something or other, phone calls, dealing with certain things that makes you feel stressed. So when I say the mind goes to where it's familiar with, if a situation occurs that is familiar with that, it automatically how you react to it, and the negative, it automatically feels stressed around it as well. So like I said, the trigger is always caused by triggers there, and prolonged situations is one, like being in a stressful situation for a long period of time, that can progress into more bigger things, like how it affects your mental health as well. So like I said, the mind gets confused. You tend to draw to its negative, so you tend to draw to that negative and cope with it in a negative way, which is a natural reaction of dealing with a not so good situation that you're in. So the more you're getting drawn to that negative situation of how it's making you feel, that negative habit of how you normally would deal with it is creating a stir there, more confusion to the mind. It can affect you physically, like I said, physically as in making you feel lacking in motivation, feeling very tired around it all, just mentally tired, mentally taxing. Stress, like I said, is a big thing, especially if it develops into something bigger. And like I said, when you're suffering with poor mental health anyway, if you've got a mental illness, stress is a big trigger for somebody that is suffering with mental health problems. Because the reason why I say that is, in tough situations, it's very hard for someone sometimes to process and cope with that tough situation, because they've already got the symptoms there. They may feel fine with their mental health, but all it takes is something just to trigger it off, like a tough situation. Take, for example, this lockdown, the one we're in now, this lockdown. Now, we're all feeling it, but if you've already got poor mental health, it's going to create an even bigger problem, and that's where it comes a crisis with some people with their mental health. So with this tough situation that we're in at the moment, it's just like they say, more people are suffering with their mental health, and more people on top that are already suffering with mental health. It's become a crisis, is because the natural response to this situation is negative, and how it's affecting us as well. So cope, you can cope with it in a better way, that it eliminates that heaviness of how you're feeling around it all. So with you suffering with your mental health, it can bring on like a stress situation, your thoughts. If you experience bad thoughts, it can create, the mind is already a bit confused, so it's creating overload, and then you're getting drawn into that overthinking, that repetitive thinking maybe of a situation. And then you can create the what ifs. The what ifs are like things that may not even happen, may not even be happening, but the mind is so confused, it just doesn't know what to do. And it creates that stress to your mind and to your body as well. So, like I said, it's a magnet for somebody that is already suffering with their mental health anyway. They say try to avoid it, try to avoid stress. Sometimes we can't avoid stress. It's something that just occurs and just happens, out of the blue. You don't know in a situation how you're going to be feeling. Like I said, your natural response is you get drawn to that negative way of coping with it. Like I said, like negative habits, how you cope with it, how you're dealing with it, because you don't know what to do in that situation. Say, take for example, now, if you smoke, say you smoke, I think this myth's rubbish. If you smoke, someone has a cigarette and says, relieve stress. It's not really, it's doing the complete opposite, as in a way that you've drawn to something negative. Now your mind's making you think, yeah, that's relieved a bit of stress, but it hasn't. It's creating more stress, because what happens is you tend to start maybe smoking a bit more. And how is that going to make you feel within yourself physically by smoking a bit too much? Your feelings, emotions, mind. It's the same with drink. Someone might have a drink. That's just made it feel better, but it hasn't. Because the mind has remembered that and thought, that's made it better. You tend to go, your natural negative habit would be to go for that drink every time, and that can create a problem too. with alcohol. So that's the negative, pulling towards that negative of coping with stress, like with stress and how it's affected you, like in a chronic way. There could be other negative ways of how you've coped with it as well, many other ways, not just smoking and alcohol, other negative ways. But the thing is, you have to realise and think to yourself that that situation or situations that are occurring is creating a cycle. It's creating a cycle there, emotion there, of not so good of dealing with it. So you've got to think, what am I doing there? What am I doing wrong? The thing is, it's to put away from that negative habit of coping with it to a positive way of coping with it, to enable you to, so it eliminates that stress and be able to cope with it a bit better. And of course, in future references, the mind will like create a positive way of dealing with stressful situations in future reference. If you may come across anything, it makes it easier to, if you're having difficulty with certain things that you're not able to cope with, it will help with that. So putting away from maybe that situation that you're in to do something positive. You have to change your habit. You have to change that mindset for enable the mind to go to, when it goes to where it's familiar with, it will go to, eventually go to, like I said, where it's familiar with, in a better way of coping, being able to cope with the stress that you're feeling and eliminate it. I know they say, like, if you're trying to sort of something is so stressful, a situation is causing you that stress, go away from that stress, like that stressful situation, to avoid the overthinking, because the more you overthink about it, the more creation of confusion it causes. So by doing something positive, you have to have like coping strategies, positive coping tools to help with it, like coping, like maybe just say, for an example, you're trying to sort something out on the phone and you feel like you're getting pushed from pillar to post, you're not getting anywhere, and all the while it's creating a big confusion there with your mind and your body. You just can't cope with it. Is to put away from that and do something positive. Maybe go for a walk, do some exercise. Exercise is good to eliminate stress. It's very good to eliminate stress. Anything like that, anything positive. And if it's something that you need to sort out on the phone, go back to it. Sometimes it helps a little bit to able to focus a bit more on what you're trying to sort out. But that's just things like that. I'm on like things, just your normal stress that causes bad situations. You do the same. What you need to do is have positive things in place to change the mindset to a better habit, a positive habit. And what you have to do is do it daily. You have to do these things daily as well, because the more you do it, the better you get doing these things, and you feel the benefit there, because it enables you to focus a bit better. It's a bit like mindfulness. It enables you to focus a little bit better, because stress in itself as well is like how, when it starts to affect you physically, like with your feelings and emotions, affect you inner and mentally, like with your mind, it's building up a lot of what they call stagnant energy, what causes all that pain and suffering. So you've got to reverse it and get rid of that stagnant energy that is causing that pain and suffering into something good, like good energy. Now me, I do Qigong or Tai Chi. I do Qigong every morning. That helps a lot with stress, anxiety. It helps you to be mindful. It helps you to focus a lot as well. Focus and be mindful. Now, I find it helps me. I've been doing this. I do it every morning, regular Qigong, and it helps with my well-being. It's very beneficial. But you have to do it every day. Things like that, you have to do every day. But I've created a habit of doing it, and I feel the benefits, the good benefits from doing it as well. Like, for example, just before Christmas, because it helps physically as well. Now, I suffer with my back anyway because I have sciatica, but just before Christmas, my back was really playing up. It just seized up. I was in a lot of pain. Obviously, for a week, I had some painkillers, hot water bottle. I had to have a hot water bottle to help with movement and everything. But I continued with that Qigong. Yeah, I continued every day, even though my back was hurting. I continued doing it. And when my back was first playing up, I could feel where the tension was in my back. And after so long, I felt the tension in my back eliminating until one day. I mean, it didn't last. My back went on, it was hurting for about 2 to 3 weeks possible. And till one day, I felt no tension in my back. My back felt fine. And the thing is as well, with physical pain can cause a lot of stress and anxiety with it. We can all feel stress. We can all feel anxiety. You don't have to have a mental illness to have things like that. We can all get stressed, like I said. And anxiety, it's a natural way an instant way of coping with certain things that we come across in life. What life throws at us. It's just that if you're suffering with your mental health, if you've got poor mental health, it's just that little bit harder to deal with at first, and just takes a bit longer to overcome it as well. So, but it's not impossible for somebody that is suffering with poor mental health to overcome stress and to help with their mental health and to to eliminate that stress. It's by changing that mindset, having good, positive coping strategies to enable you to deal with it as well. So I'm going to end the video there. I hope you like this video, and please share this video because it's very important. Like I said, our mental health is very important, and we can all come across stress at some point in our life. And sometimes, like this situation, like I said, this current lockdown that we're in at the moment is how we're all feeling it. And there's a bit of a crisis, I think, with people already suffering as well with their mental health, because of all this. And when I said about the mind goes to where it's familiar with, the first lockdown, how it was the first lockdown. Now this is a third lockdown, but a longer one. So that's why we're feeling it a bit more sometimes in this lockdown, because the mind has gone to where it's familiar with, and how each one of us has coped with it, how it's affected us as well. So dealing with stress is very good to, you can overcome stress, but you've got to be patient, and you've just got to be patient as well, because if you feel like you're not patient, you're getting a bit, that in itself could make you feel a bit stress and anxiety. Just be patient and take one day at a time, because it will start to shift. That stress will eventually start to shift. So like I said, please share this video, and if you wish to subscribe as well, please subscribe, and don't forget to give us a like.